Welcome to the No Dunks Podcast on the Athletic Network. It's Wednesday, October 16th, 2024. This is our fifth and final NBA season preview pod. It was a very aggressive intro. I'd forgotten about that. I'm J.E. Skeets here in the Classic Factory, and alongside me, as always, Tass Mellis.
Yeah, I also wasn't ready for that, but podcast listeners, that aggressive intro is for you.
And over yonder, filling in for super producer JD, it's our second super producer. It's Eshua Kid.
How y'all doing?
What's up, Esh? Great to have you back on the ones and twos.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You were, on fall break with the kids? You do anything fun?
Not really.
No?
Beforehand, we went to Epcot, got drunk, and ate a lot. And then
You got drunk at Epcot?
yeah, happens all the time.
Okay.
Guys, I have some bad news though.
What?
I didn't hit the record button. So let's start over.
Okay. Let's start over. Let's just do it again.
We're just gonna run it back, okay?
This is just for the podcast.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, just for the podcast.
Count it down whenever you want to. Go ahead. Hit record and then start the intro again.
gonna start it over.
It's very aggressive. Get ready. To the No Dunks Podcast on the Athletic Network. It's Wednesday, October 16th, 2024. This is our fifth and final NBA season preview podcast. I'm J.E. Skeets here in the Classic Factory. Alongside me, still here, as always, Tass Mellis.
Podcast listeners, this is for you.
Over yonder, making the magic happen, filling in for super producer JD. It's our guy, Eshua Kid.
How y'all doing?
Hey, what's up,
there
Ash?
he is.
Great
What's
to
up,
see
guys?
you. Great to see you, man. Hey, I heard you just had fall break. Is that true?
Yeah, we did have a fall break.
Did you do anything fun?
Not really, no.
Nothing?
Well, before fall break, Courtney and I went to Epcot, got drunk around the world, and ate a lot of food for the Food and Wine Festival. But then it was a whole bunch of chilling with the kids and playing Dragon Ball Spark Zero.
This is a video game?
It's a new video game.
Okay.
Back in my nerd days, I was off 2K for a little bit, playing some Dragon Ball Z.
Damn. All right, catch them all.
No,
No, that's
wrong
Pokemon.
thing.
I don't know. What was the best drink at Epcot Center? Or food?
Everybody keeps asking me that, and I really don't know. But I tell you what.
Yeah, because you were drunk.
Well, yeah, we drank a lot. There was a lot of good things. They had a pickle slushy, like a pickle milkshake there. Oh, I'll tell you what, though. This is the weirdest thing I ate, and it was pretty good. This is it. Peanut butter and jelly wings. It sounds disgusting.
What?
Whoa.
But they were amazing.
What country was that in?
Yeah.
America? Sounds American.
I feel like that was part of the American cuisine because it was just off. It wasn't even in one of the countries. Just like off in this building. It's like scientific experiments or whatever.
This guy always goes to Disney.
I know.
Fall break doesn't matter. You make it happen.
Yeah,
It's
man.
like a restaurant for this guy. It's like a reservation. Like, all right, we're going to Epcot.
You had to go on a little date weekend.
Awesome.
Get away from the kiddos.
Yeah.
Well, it's great to have you here. Obviously, no Trey, no JD. Trey is slipping in a quick little family getaway to Chattanooga. I think they're in a tiny home, a tiny house. Which I'd love to see Trey Kirby in a tiny. Like I watch like Tiny House Nation.
Yeah,
you ever
you
watch
do.
those shows? I don't know. I find them fascinating.
They look cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like how you can like utilize a small space.
Yeah.
And hide all these little things.
It's a functional, like, wow, I'm sort of playing like a little bit of Lego, you know?
Yeah, right. Like a dollhouse.
Yeah.
It's like a human dollhouse.
Yeah.
So Trey's doing that, and JD is up in New York doing some very important work meetings. So that's why we got Esh here helping us out.
It's fall break for some of us.
I guess so.
For Trey, for some kids. Georgia just changes it up down here.
Yeah.
You kids are off. It just changes. Then now he's playing Tetris. That's the name of the game I was thinking of. You know, when you're playing a little Tetris?
Yeah,
it feels like that.
I got you.
Here's a bed. Here's a table.
You literally think Laura has to like fold Trey into like an L and like put him in a compartment in this little
Basically.
tiny home they're staying at? Maybe. Well, I'm happy we're doing burning questions here today because it is getting quite chilly here in the South. Fall has finally got here. We've debated over-under win totals for every team in the league. We did that last week. We did our NBA award predictions for the 6 major awards. And earlier this week, we ranked all 30 teams. pissing off some Dallas Mavericks fans in the process.
Oh, yeah. I've angered them the last little while because I said I think they're an under team, but I think Luka's going to be MVP. And many people, mostly you and Trey, when I say mainly people, most people, you guys didn't want to put him and the Mavs in a finals contender spot.
Yeah. Which you were going to bat for that.
Yeah, because we define contenders differently, essentially.
That's right.
I think they're in that
anyway,
clump.
They're fired up, and we love to see it.
Yeah, it's good.
But on today's pod, we've got some remaining birding questions, 7 in total. We'll have some rapid fire fun at the end. So, the theme here is hot. But let's just jump into our first question. Play along if you're on YouTube. Hit the like button, subscribe, share the show. Podcast listeners, 5-star ratings and reviews. But first question, we always do it. It's always a fun one. We've actually had a pretty good hit rate when it comes to predicting this one.
I'm surprised.
Yeah. Most likely to make their first All-Star game. Let's talk it out, Tass. And before you give your answer, we got some numbers here. Over the last 10 years, there have been an average of 5.7 first-time All-Stars, with a high of 10 in 2020. Last year, 4 first-time All-Stars: Paolo, Scotty Barnes, Jalen Brunson, and Tyrese Maxey. So
all in the East.
Yeah, all in the East. That's right. So a lot of the times, you call it 3 to 5 or whatever, 3 to 6. We have first-time All-Stars. Do you think that's going to happen again?
Nope.
But who would you pick to make their first All-Star?
I think it'll be lower than that. I think it's coming from the West, which I'm surprised by when I say that because there's so many good Western Conference teams. But I think just because of who he is, Victor Wembanyama is going to make his first All-Star team.
Yeah.
And this is going to be the first one of many for Victor Wembanyama. This feels like it could start a run of literally 15, 16, 17. That's how good this guy is. And when you really look at it, when you zoom out, what he did last year was very, very good. When you look at just the raw stats, they're so good at 21, 10.5, 4 assists. This guy can pass, steal, 3.5 blocks. You went into the advanced stats a little while before, earlier when I think we were going through some of the teams. Those are good. This is good. And it's only going to get better. That was under 30 minutes a game. So this guy is just so talented. You watch it happen this summer in the Olympics. The first possession was a step back 3. Yeah, he missed. But if he's evolving that into his game, and then he was just basically playing volleyball with himself on the backboard, and then he had a turnaround in the post. So he showed his versatility there. And then when he came back from the Olympics and he was with the Spurs, he basically said, I was working on my fundamentals this offseason. That was my big focus. And Pop said, yeah, it's his aggressiveness. That's the thing, his physicality. So I zoomed out and I said, okay, this guy's super talented. We see him do these splits when he does his stretches. And now he's talking about just keeping it super simple and doing the fundamentals. And when I saw him playing volleyball with himself on the backboard and doing the turnaround in the post, I'm like, oh yeah, this guy is obviously a ridiculous alien, but he can just do these fundamentals. So it is a little crazy to think he's going to make it now in year 2 because there's so much talent in the Western Conference. But what I do think helps him when you're looking at the All-Star picture is that a lot of these teams are going to be so good, you have to probably send one from each of them almost. Like I went through the teams. I got deep and I said, Wolves got to send one. Nuggets got to send one. Thunder got to send one. Then you look at them.
Thunder could maybe send more than one.
Yeah, I know. I know that's unfortunate for Chet. And for Jalen Williams, he's going to do this again to Chet, where Wembanyama beats Chet out of something, like he'll beat him out of the Rookie of the Year. But then you get into the Mavs, Suns, Lakers. Could be 2 from each of those. You never know.
Right.
So the numbers keep going. Zion's got to make one with the Pelicans. Obviously, the Warriors got to send one. John Morant might go to one. The Kings got to send one. There's chances with the Clippers and the Rockets. So I do think Vic beats Chet again. And then, I was thinking Jalen Williams as well. This has got to be his time. But when I went through those numbers, his numbers are already better than what Jalen Williams were last year. And Victor's only going to get better.
Yeah.
So that hurts.
It was a big part of, if you could only pick Wembanyama or Jalen Williams to make their first All-Star game this coming season, a part of that equation would be the Thunder just running away with the number 1 seed at the All-Star break, and thus, having to play the card of they deserve more than just SGA as an All-Star. They have to have J-Dub there, maybe even Chet, something like that. But the records would come into play there. Wembanyama is the right pick. I mean, he's also everybody loves him.
Yeah.
He could lead, I don't know, could he lead in fan votes in the Western Conference front
question.
court? I mean, I know you got to like eclipse LeBron, Jokic, but Wemby, I mean, there's going to be a lot of votes for Wembanyama, I believe. So that'll help him. And then the media, of course, and the numbers. You said it. Like the numbers that you gave me for the season, they just got better in the second half of the season too.
Yeah.
So if he continues on that trajectory, he sort of feels like almost a lock.
Yeah.
Even if they're not a great team, which we had them as the under, some of us, right? The Spurs, which was probably higher than it needed to be at. What was it, 35.5, 36.5, something like that.
Yes. Who knows where they get in terms of wins, but it's got to be some. If you're pushing Victor Wembanyama, like Pop pushed him in the second half of last season, because he said, okay, you can play more now, and now he's talking like he's ready to go, and so it feels like Pop believes in him. And how can you not? So it feels like the numbers are just going to be super high.
And now you have a competent point guard, and Chris Paul, throwing him lobs left and right, and you got some, even Harrison Barnes there. Like, they should be better. I like Wembanyama. I think Jalen Williams he'll have a case to make it if the numbers tick up. I have him as most improved, so I basically have to double down and say he'll be an all-star. You don't really win most improved unless you, turn into an all-star. And that was my pick on that Friday show last week. So I'll go J-Dub. Anyone else you want to make a case for, or you can squint and see them making their first All-Star game?
I like the Western Conference bigs to think about one of those, because Karl Anthony Towns is gone after making it last year. Paul George is gone, going to the East.
Point.
And Kawhi Leonard, also a forward. Will he play enough games?
No, probably not.
But there's just so many teams. Again, when you go through those, I mean, you're picking Anthony Edwards, you're picking Jokic, Shea, obviously, Luka, maybe Kyrie, Booker, maybe Durant. I mean, those two go hand in hand. LeBron's got to go just because he's LeBron, and maybe Anthony Davis because his numbers are freaking ridiculous. Again, Zion, who wasn't an all-star last year, Steph, Ja, De'Aaron Fox or Sabonis. I mean, there's a ton of guys. So that's a problem for everybody. But it's a Jalen or a Chet is going to be damn good this year as well. He's got help at that power forward spot with Isaiah Hartenstein. That combo of 2 7-footers. Chet's going to be great. He's going to be super, super good. So those guys, they both might get screwed. But
squeezed.
But when you look at the Western Conference and you said a lot of the newcomers that have come along, sometimes those newcomers come along because of injuries. And you just
a lot of the time.
Replacement. So with the Western Conference, maybe you get a replacement or two.
Well, it's funny you say that. In the Eastern Conference, here's a dark horse pick to make their first All-Star game. What about Cade Cunningham?
Wow, that's dark.
Right?
Yeah.
It's very dark, yes. As specifically an injury replacement.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to our guy Shu. I don't know if he's in the stream team here today. I know he was last week at one point, but he had this point about, Cade Cunningham's chances. Detroit probably won't come close enough to winning half their games, when you get to around the All-Star break, and that's sort of where you want to be. But remember, Scotty Barnes and Trae Young were named injury replacements last season, and those teams that they were on were 17-33 and 22-28 respectively. Injury replacements, Adam Silver and co., they don't generally care maybe how crappy your team is. Do you have the numbers?
That's a good point.
And I think Cade could. I think they're going to be better than that crappy 14-win team last year. So I'll just make a small case. As an injury replacement, I could see it for Cade Cunningham. And his numbers, they are pretty damn good.
I've already talked the snot out of Evan Mobley. Evan Mobley, because the Cavs should be better, and they are going to play Evan Mobley way more, and not just minutes, but they're just going to go through him. You can have the ball wherever you want, Evan Mobley. I think Kenny Atkinson is just going to let him start offenses at the elbow, start offenses beyond the three-point line, let him go rebound on the defensive end and run it. So I think that usage percentage is going to go way up.
Yeah, it's just I agree. He would be on my list too as a potential first-time All-Star, but Donovan Mitchell lock, obviously, that if he's healthy.
Yeah.
And then it's Darius Garland already was an All-Star. Jared Allen has already been an All-Star before. And then it's where does Mobley slot within those four talented guys? He has to, of course, be the second guy to make it, but it's a good pick.
Yep.
Let's hear from you. I know there's other names out there, but let's move on to our second question. This is a bit of a fun one. We do it every year. First player to score 50 points in a game this season. I was thinking about it. We might need to change this question to 60 points. I think we maybe debated this last year too when it was just TK and I. But We had 7 guys score over 60 points in a game last year. 50, it's like, okay, big deal. We had Luka and Embiid score over 70 last year. Nuts. 73 and 70, I believe that was what the numbers they put up, Luka and Embiid respectively. We had Giannis, Booker, Towns, Brunson, and Curry scoring over 60. Zach LaVine was the first player to have a 50-point game last year. Zach LaVine scored 51 in a loss to the Pistons on October 28th, so pretty early in the season. We hadn't even hit November. Who do you got?
Don't forget about Malachi Flynn. He did it.
He did it too.
He did it at a different time last year, but yes.
But I want the first player because we know there's going to be like 20 guys that probably do it.
It's true. But I'm going with a dark horse.
Okay.
Cam Thomas.
Oh, I have him written down as well. That's a good pick, I think.
Yeah. It's not as dark as I make it out to be because
he's not an all-star or all-NBA guy, so it's wild.
It is a little wild, but Vegas has him potentially as the 8th highest scorer over the entire season. In terms of their odds, if you're picking the most, the guy who scores the most points, Cam Thomas is 8th. Why is that? Because he's going to score a lot. He has the last couple of years. He's had 40 plus 2 seasons ago, 4 times. Last year, 40 plus 4 times as well. And that was with Mikal Bridges on that team. And Cam Thomas was leading the team in shots with Mikal Bridges there. So now Mikal Bridges is gone. This guy can rip as much as he possibly wants. I'm hearing some packaging. They having a little snack over there. Ash? You grab that from the Epcot. Maybe you can't hear it on the mic, but I saw you looking over, Skeets, and I said, "Yeah, I got to say something."
It's a cough drop. I was trying to be real quiet.
It was for your cold. Yeah, it looks. I can see that.
I thought you were like getting a little piece of chocolate, a little morning chocolate, a little pick me up over there.
Just a cough drop. My bad.
It was a little Vicks. Anyways, the fact is, I think he's just going to get even more shots.
Yeah, I like that pick.
He's come close to 50. He hasn't got there yet, but who's going to shoot on that team otherwise? So I do think there's a chance. Again, 8th in odds for points per game this season. Cam Thomas, it's shocking to me, but he is a bucket, absolutely.
Last year, Cam Thomas, to start the season, scored 36 points, 30 points, and 33 points in the first 3 games. And then it fell off a little bit, but a week later, he scored 45. So he was damn close to that 50-point mark. That was early November. And you said it, Tass, he had a couple other 40-point games as the season went on. I like that pick a lot, but I'm going to go with a guy who's already an all-star, might be flirting with all-NBA this year, Tyrese Maxey.
That's a good one.
We already got, we know Embiid ain't playing back-to-back. We got a injured Paul George. They're going to slow play him. Maxey this shocked me, he had 3 50-point games last year. And he had one of them early in the year as well. I mean, it wasn't the first. Zach LaVine got that nod, but I'll go Maxey. In the first, obviously, I guess we're looking at the first 2 weeks of the season to go for a 50-plus.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Anyone else you want to throw in there?
I do want to throw Trae Young in there in Atlanta. Ooh. The way they have designed the team, it ain't the way the Brooklyn Nets have designed the team, but in a similar way, they gave up DeJounte Murray, so it's Trae Young can take every shot he wants with a lot of defensive hands around him, so it sort of makes sense. It's a little Allen Iverson-esque, where you got a bunch of defensive guys and Dyson Daniels playing beside him and DeAndre Hunter playing beside him. Now he's going to feed Jalen Johnson a ton this season, but there's a chance that it could be Trae Young as one of the, there's 20 guys that dropped 50 last year. It's
crazy.
It is crazy when you think about it.
I just looked up Trae Young's high last year, 45.
Yeah, it's low.
Is where he maxed out. Yeah, for him. He had 4 40-point games, and they were all victories. And they were all games that they won by 1 to 4 points.
That's what they do.
In the games he scored 40. Wow.
That's why the Hawks are fun, because they play close games. But he has had a 56-point game before, so he can do it.
Okay, so Cam Thomas, backup Trae Young. I got Tyrese Maxey. I do like the Cam Thomas pick as well. Let's hear from you guys. First guy to score 50 in a game. I mean, there's a lot of other names. And I think we're trying to maybe even get cute with it, right?
You got to get cute.
You could go Luka. You could go Giannis.
Yeah.
You could pick one of the Suns guys. There's tons of guys. All right, next question here. Which star player is under the most pressure this season? That's a burning question for you, Tass Mellis.
I think it is Tyrese Maxey. And I say that because, because Embiid is going to play way fewer games. He said that. Paul George is already injured. And I think that they were already looking to reduce Paul George's games before that knee injury in
now
the preseason.
it's just a bone bruise there
Yeah.
in the left knee. He did not suffer any structural damage. He's going to be reevaluated, I guess, in a week. It didn't look good.
No.
And people are like, uh-oh, is Paul George going to miss months here? But yeah.
I do think it's important for Tyrese Maxey to win some games because, yes, Paul George is out now, and I think he was already going to be out for weeks and weeks and weeks because Daryl Morey said this in September before that happened. He said, we actually have quite a few guys who we think we need to be smart about how we manage them through the season. He ain't talking about guys who don't play a lot. He's not talking about new guys like Caleb Martin or old guys like Kyle Lowry. He's talking about Paul George, I think. So I think both those guys will miss games. And the record last year without Embiid was 16-27. Now, I bring that up because you might think, well, it's the Eastern Conference. We saw the Sixers go in, win a play-in game, and then go play with the Knicks and have a great series. So it doesn't really matter. You can play wherever you want in the Eastern Conference playoffs and still be good. I don't buy that because the East is tough enough for them to finish 8th. Literally 7 legitimate teams that could be better than them. You don't want to play the Celtics in the first round. That kind of thing. You don't want to mess around. Now, it's just tough enough for Tyrese Maxey to have to win games in the Eastern Conference. So I think PG is going to miss a decent amount of time. I think we overlook, like, Paul George was injured with the Clippers at times. He missed the 23 playoffs because he was injured. So I think this was already part of what the doctors were saying. This guy's going to miss a decent amount. So it's on Maxey to play above 500. Again, 16-27 without Embiid.
Keep the team afloat, yeah.
16-27 without Embiid, that's half the season. And that's what he's going to end up missing, I think, because there's going to be, well, I shouldn't say that. That's a lot of games to miss, but he's going to miss at the very least, a third of the season.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's to me, star under most pressure. There's bigger names than Maxey, but he is a star with this team, and I think that's important.
He is a star, but I don't know. I guess I'm struggling, and maybe just because we saw it last year. Because Embiid's going to miss time, and he did last year, and then now you got Paul George, and maybe they, again, are cautious with him. It's like, if those guys aren't playing, are people like, Maxey, you better get us a victory tonight? I don't know. He's almost like giving the benefit of the doubt. Like, well, you're missing one of the best big guys in the league, one of the best wings in the league. It's like, there's only so much you can do. But, I feel like that pass was given to him last year.
It was,
and it's not even a pass. That's not even the right word. It's like, well, they're decimated. What do you expect? And he's still, like, balling out.
Right.
But, okay, it's interesting.
He's an all-star.
Think of the pressure. Yeah.
It's his time, most improved last year. It's his time to be, again, it's like 500. That's all you need to do without your superstars. So I think, even Philadelphia fans will put some pressure on that guy. Like, we got to win some games. We went for it by getting Paul George and friends. We can't be a play-in team. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm going with star player under the most pressure. I think it's Karl Anthony Towns.
It's a good one.
Because of the big deal here between the Wolves and the Knicks. And, like, the vibes, honestly, were, like, never higher in New York than they were last year.
Right.
With Jalen Brunson as a top 5 MVP guy, bringing OG in. Just the energy in that building, all the dogs they had on that team, how they played, the success obviously started running out of guys and guys dropping like flies as they got into the postseason. But it's here. And so now they make this big move and they get Mikal Bridges. There's that part of the equation too. But it's like, if it doesn't start well and they struggle, it's like he's going to be the scapegoat.
Yeah.
And he's looked good in preseason. Like, it looks like it could be amazing. Mm-hmm. But he disappeared in moments for the Wolves and would hear about it online. NBA fans, oh, come on, cat. You went missing just like a cat. You walk in. I barely see your cat when I come over to your house. Where's the cat? Do you even have a cat? That was in Minnesota. Come on. In NYC, if he has some stinkers.
I hear you.
That could you could just see it going poorly. So that's pressure. That's a lot of pressure, I think. So I'm going with him because they expect to compete for a championship. The bar's that high.
Yeah.
So
I was believing that census right off the bat when he was traded and he tweeted 3 dots, just an ellipses, and people were saying, "Oh, this guy can't handle New York. He can't handle New York." But then he went number 1.
He didn't know. He said, "I guess."
Yeah. Well, he was told. I think he did. Okay. Tim Connolly came to his house.
Okay, he was told, but he was still shocked.
Yeah, of course he was shocked. That's fine. You can tweet whatever you want. So people said, you can't handle New York. If you can't handle Minnesota, then you can't handle New York. But I think he did learn to get better. We saw in the postseason he was better. It was 9 years, and so yes, there were times in the first 5-6 years he wasn't the guy to lead a team. But now in New York, you got a Brunson to take a lot of that off your shoulders.
Yeah.
You got a lot of other people, and then he goes and plays really well. So I do think he's better. He's growing, but it is a good question. If they can't,
he makes $50 million.
Yeah.
Like that'll be a thing. It's like Brunson makes half that basically, and I don't think there's he already went through this with Anthony Edwards anyway. Last year it was Ant's team. Like he handed the keys over, and sort of kudos to him. Like he was the guy for almost a decade, and it's like, oh, this guy's better. I guess it's sort of his team. And I'm just worried it won't even be his fault, but it will be if they struggle. That's just how it's going to go.
That's fair. The other positives, yes, they have a guy like Bridges who never misses a game, who's going to take the other team's best player on the perimeter. Like he's going to be good.
He's in a good environment for him for sure.
Yeah, and OG Anunoby, a first full season with the New York Knicks. I think we just kind of skip over that. He was
full season. Yeah. Throw that in air quotes.
It ain't going to be a full season. He has missed 25% of his games throughout his career. As much as I back him and say, he learned how to deal with his body. He had some weird injuries as soon as he got to New York, and they dealt with it. But I don't know. I just think there's enough guys to take some pressure off Cat. Okay. But I do worry about the injuries. I hope you're right. the injuries are a concern. But yes, I don't know. I mean, you're right about the New York fans. And the social media are going to be all over him. We are going to see it. No matter what, people are just going to get all over Cat.
Right.
And it's going to be annoying because they'll probably be like, I don't know, 30-10, and you'll still hear that crap.
Yeah.
So can't wait for that.
Any other names you want to add? I have written down, I think Trae Young is... there's some pressure there.
A little bit.
Now after trading, they bring DeJounte Murray in, they try that experiment, and they ship him out. It's like... And they hadn't been a good team since that run to the conference finals, and that was in 2021. We're getting up there. Damian Lillard, he's talking a big game coming in here. Obviously, he's important to the Bucks' success. Jamal Murray, if you consider him a star, I think he's very instrumental to how Denver plays. Anyone else I'm missing? Paul George, I guess maybe.
I have one. I think.
All right.
I would say Jason Tatum. Just because...
Really?
Yeah, and I know this, you're like, what? You just won a championship? He finally got the pressure off. But did he get the pressure off of him? Like, they won.
Yeah, okay.
How many times did you ever see somebody win a championship finally, and their reputation almost kind of gets worse, right? Because he goes out of the championship, didn't have, like, a great finals scoring-wise. Then he goes through the Olympics, terrible.
Yeah.
Just had, like, a terrible summer. We've been talking about it the entire summer. We've been talking about them the entire summer. Of course, there's still a lot of people's favorite to win the championship, but I think a lot more eyes are going to be on Jason Tatum because if he comes out and his shot is still a little bit off like it was in the Olympics or I think in the finals. Yeah, whatever. If he just gets out there and Jaylen Brown just looks more consistent, which if you talk to Celtics fans or like the average NBA fan, they're going to say, well, Jaylen Brown's the best guy on the team, actually. He's more consistent than Jason Tatum. If that happens throughout the season, I feel like people are going to just say something, and maybe that puts a little bit of pressure. I don't know how much he pays attention to the media, but if he does, I'm sure that gets in somebody's head like that,
Yeah. He's got a champ. Like he's like he gets to say, "So what? We're the reigning champs."
Yeah. And that works for a lot of people, but people love to shit on Jason Tatum.
It sounds like you are trying to divide the Boston Celtics.
I'm a Celtics guy. I love Jason Tatum. I have to argue for Jason Tatum literally every day to anybody I'm talking to. But I don't know. I'm just a little worried that maybe it gets to his head because people just like to shit on Jason Tatum.
Yeah. I don't think anyone's going to care about Boston, to be honest, because they're going to win, number one. And number two, I get why people were talking about him not playing a lot in the Olympics because there was another basketball going on. There was another men's basketball going on. So people just need to know. So he got talked about. But I just think last year, we remember he was a great player. And he won a friggin' title, but people didn't even talk about him, really. Throughout the regular season, did we talk about him at all? Did we talk about the Celtics at all? Really? There wasn't a lot of ridicule out there because they're a 60-plus win team.
14 games clear of the second-place team in the East?
Yeah, they got to win, so there's that. But I think that prevents people from really caring.
Have you watched Starting Five Ash, with your guy Jason Tatum in it?
Not yet.
No?
I hadn't
Okay.
been able to dive in yet, but have you guys watched?
I haven't yet.
No, I have not.
I have a big flight across the states coming up here. I'm thinking about throwing it
Perfect
on the
time.
throwing on the old Netflix, throw it on the phone.
I'll get to it eventually.
Yeah. Okay, next question here. Which off-the-radar player will make a big impact this season? This question inspired from our guy, John Hollinger, who had a good article on players. He's done this a couple years in a row now. Guys that you don't talk about a lot. The casual fan maybe doesn't even know who they are, what team they play on, but that could at least have a big impact on their team's success.
Yeah. I think Gary Trent with the Milwaukee Bucks has a good chance of that. You mentioned Damian Lillard maybe having some more pressure as a star there, and it's to read on The Athletic about what he went through last year. We all talked about, yes, he didn't know where he was going last offseason, so he didn't work out. And now, having read that he's going through a divorce and that he wasn't really even in his own space in Milwaukee. He's in this little tiny space in Milwaukee for the first couple months because he was trying to transition.
Was he in a tiny home?
It was super tiny. Damian Lillard was sleeping in a wall. No, he did have
in a Murphy bed.
A little tiny house. But all that to say, he wasn't ready. And so this coming season, number one, he'll be ready. I think he'll be more ready just to have a second turn. And you do see that in the NBA. You saw Rudy Gobert wasn't awesome with the Timberwolves the first time. Second time, pretty damn good. So it happens throughout the NBA. So I think that part will help Gary Trent as his backcourt mate just do his job. And his job is really different what he was with the Raptors last year. Last year with the Raptors, Nick Nurse had him sort of gambling. He was good at getting steals on the defensive end because he jumped those passing lanes. This year, Doc Rivers is asking him to be on the ball and to trail your guy. And so it is very, very different. But he looks like, and being a Raptors fan, it looks like he's got that in him as well. And I think he has that in him more than guys like Malik Beasley, who started beside Damian Lillard last year in Milwaukee. They just weren't a great defensive team for most of the year. And I think this year, Gary Trent will help. He's obviously a great shooter. But I think just the entire environment will also help Gary Trent. So he's under the radar.
Think he starts?
I do.
Alongside Damian Lillard? Yeah.
I think he's the two. Yeah. Rather than going with a Taurean Prince or a Pat Connaughton. They just don't have, I don't think they have the defensive abilities that this guy does, combined with his great offense. I mean, Taurean Prince is decent, but Gary's a good player that hasn't got a lot of talk because of the teams he's played on. But I think this will be his best season.
He's a career 39% three-point shooter on very high volume.
Yeah,
he had a bad. People say he had a bad year last year, but he still shot the hell out of the ball from distance. So it was, and he's lost sort of there in a very bad Raptors team. I like him as a fifth starter, or even if he does come off the bench, like a green light, fire away type of guy that can change a game.
Yeah,
because he's good for he's going to hit 2 or 3 3-pointers a game.
He's going to score.
Put that in pen.
I mean, last year the Bucks were an awesome offensive team for most of the year because they have Giannis Antetokounmpo and even Damian Lillard, who had an off year. They have him, and so this year people are worried. We're talking about now. This can be the 4th season after them winning the titles. So you're getting older, and Chris Middleton's already banged up, and Brooks getting older. But all that said. I think they should be good enough because Giannis still isn't in his prime, even if Damian's a little bit older. It was still a damn good team in a way. So
Gary Trent Jr. should come in with a chip on his shoulder too. He probably feels a little humbled, does he not?
Yeah.
He's on a minimum deal.
Yeah.
He's 25 years old and is a decent basketball player. So maybe that's part of the equation too. He's playing for a paycheck here, a real payday in the NBA.
We see a lot of those guys now in the NBA. There's a lot of guys who used to get paid, but now it's a lot of money's going to the top, and some of those guys don't get paid.
Yeah.
We saw it last year with Kelly Oubre with Philadelphia. Played pretty well.
Yeah.
You see Tyus Jones with the Phoenix Suns now. Guys who are playing for 1 year for a contract.
Yeah. Hollinger, again, did a great list of guys. He had a lot of centers. Just to throw them out there to you. Again, these are under the radar, sort of off the radar guys that could make a big impact. Xavier Tillman with the Celtics, We talked about that when we were talking about their over-under win total. Like
The big X.
Yeah, the big Z, as you wanted to call him.
Yeah.
Because of obviously the Porzingis injury, and he's going to get minutes there and a chance to play the backup center position.
Yeah.
Daniel Tice with the Pelicans as the only
Love
center
that guy.
on that roster.
Love that guy. Underrated.
Trace Jackson-Davis with the Warriors, probably pretty important. You know, obviously a younger guy on this list. Precious Achiuwa with the Knicks, they're banged up at the center position. Trey Lyles with the Kings, or as a stretch five. So good stuff from Hollinger there. But I'm going to go with a guard that also made his list. I thought you were going to take him, Tass. Hawks guard Dyson Daniels.
Oh, I was waiting for another guard.
Oh, who are you thinking?
Grady Dick.
Oh, Grady Dick. Yeah, Grady Dick's on fire, man. Great
good.
preseason game. Look great. No, I'm going Dyson Daniels because he is going to get an opportunity here in Atlanta. He was in a very crowded Pelicans backcourt. He has an opportunity here alongside Trae Young. Can he help this brutal defense be average? They were 27th in the league last year, the Hawks defense. They've been bad for years now. Can he at least bump it up a little bit? Can he do what we thought? Some of us thought DeJounte Murray might help. Oh my God, he'll help defensively. Well, we were wrong. But Daniels is 6'7". He can play guards. He can play wings. He's a lot sort of bigger than you think. Has a crazy steal rate. Second only to Matisse Thybulle when you're looking at like the, steals per 100 possessions. Like the guy just gets cookies. He just grabs the ball and jumps passing lanes and deflections and stuff like that. Here's the problem with Dyson Daniels. Can he stay on the floor and hit the three-point shot? Because he has not shown that he can consistently hit a three. He's 31% career three-point shooter. And then the real worrisome number, he's like 65% at the free throw line. There's always like a correlation between like maybe he's just not a good shooter. He's like you can't hit free throws. Like that's pretty bad for a 6'7" guy.
It is.
So, but he's gonna have to, I think, to obviously stay on the floor because you want him out there defensively, trying to slow down the other best perimeter player. But I think he's pretty important. I think to the Hawks maybe success of being a play-in or if not better.
You just got to keep shooting him because even if he isn't fantastic, and it was a weird rotation that they had there in New Orleans, there's too many guys. But here in Atlanta, he'll have the opportunity, and it's a good lineup to have him beside Trae Young and to be the guy who guards everybody else. Will he shoot it enough? I mean, Dyson, he needs a Dyson sponsorship. Let's yeah, exactly.
Vacuum.
Yeah.
Love my Dyson.
Exactly.
Get at us, Dyson.
Yeah. We're in Atlanta.
One of the best purchases we've ever done.
I agree.
It's expensive, but it's a damn good vacuum.
You don't get to say that very often about vacuums, right? Yeah. So Dyson Daniels.
More times than not, you say the opposite. You're like, is this even vacuuming anything? You ever like crappy vacuums? It's like doesn't feel like it's doing anything. There's no suckage. There's no power to this.
That thing is amazing. So Dyson Daniels is like a vacuum. Even in the preseason here, he's making backcourt steals. Guys bringing the ball up. Dyson Daniels is there to just do it. I just need to make that noise just like you did. I think he should get a sponsorship, period. Because we know that end of the floor is going to be good. And I think the Hawks are in a position where they're just going to continuously play him as long as he's not injured. I don't think any of the young guys. I'm excited to see Reece Shea. I'm excited to see Buffkin. And Jalen Johnson's going to play, but they're not going to take Dyson Daniels minutes. I don't think so.
You still got Bogey, obviously.
Still got Bogey.
But they could complement each other, those two players. Bogdanovich being more of an offensive threat and Dyson Daniels being more of the defensive guy. Maybe you can make that work. Anyone else you want to add to the list? Under the radar guys?
Nah.
You already slipped in a dick.
Oh gosh, he's looking. I slipped it in. Huh? He is slipping it in terms of the headlines in Toronto. They wonder, could this be the guy? And as John Hollinger put, he said, the big three in Toronto, for Toronto. I know I'm calling them the big three.
Might be a mid three.
Yeah, we'll see. Of Scotty, Quickly, and Barrett.
Yep.
They've got Jakob Poeltl as their big guy, but then there's a drop-off.
Yes. Who's the fifth guy?
Who is the fifth guy?
Yeah.
Grady Dick, he's very young, super young.
Yep.
So this being year two, he wasn't great in year one. But
no.
He says in his post-game press conferences that he's been working on his core. That's what he's been devoted to in the offseason. And so he feels it actually that he's much stronger when he's out there and he takes bumps on both ends. And so he feels like he's got more balance, and that's what a shooter needs. And so I don't know if it's Pilates out there that he's been doing, but the core is a rock.
Right.
So
We don't like to put much into the preseason, but if you've been watching Grady Dick in the preseason, he looks like a better basketball player. He's putting the ball on the floor more, getting to his spots a little bit more. On balance, I would say a little bit more.
Yeah.
And obviously, he's drafted because he's a shooter. He didn't hit a great 3-point percentage last year as a rook. That you hope is going to go up. Yeah, he's pretty important to that team, though. You're right. As a fifth guy, they need somebody else. And he's got to play a little bit of defense, too. And he's not a tiny guy either. He should be able to. I'm not going to say he's going to be like an all-defensive guy ever in his career.
No.
But he should be able to play competent enough on that end of the floor. So that's a good one. All right, a couple more questions here. Lottery team, from 23-24 with the best chance of making the playoffs. I think there's probably an obvious answer, but where are you going?
The Spurs? Is that the obvious one?
I don't know. No,
Okay.
I don't have the Spurs.
It's from the Eastern Conference?
No, you were in the right conference. A team that was
The Rockies?
destroyed by injuries last year.
Oh, that didn't jump out to me.
Well, you took the under on the Memphis Grizzlies, I guess.
Oh, that one.
You're not really a believer.
Yeah, that's right. Some people do believe.
Memphis players missed 561 games due to injury or non-COVID illnesses last season. That's the highest number in Kevin Pelton's database. I love that he's got a database for this. By 154 games. They had just nobody playing. And they had 33 guys in total played. Yeah.
33 players, the
Yeah.
most in NBA history. Why doesn't Kevin Pelton have just a website for us to go to? I mean,
Well, he's a ESPN Plus. You got to pay for it.
I guess so. I guess that's available because I've been looking. Man Games Lost, that used to be a website. Dead.
Oh, is it dead?
I don't know.
Well, we didn't support it enough.
I guess, yeah. So let's blame it on us. That's fair. But the lottery team, it jumped out to me.
Not the Grizzlies.
Memphis Grizzlies is a good one. I can't help but go to the Eastern Conference because I do think there will be at least a chance for one or two teams to get there. I'm saying it again. I do believe in the Toronto Raptors.
Oh my God.
I do believe. I do believe in their top three, as we've said. I do believe in Scotty Barnes being a leader. I do believe in him getting better. And I do believe in RJ Barrett as a support guy. He was good with the Toronto Raptors when he came over, and I need to see him play more with the other guys, with Quickly and Barnes. They only played 22 games together, the three of them. That's important to just play games.
Yeah.
And I bring up Barrett because I think he was great in the Olympics as a support
He was
guy.
awesome.
To be sort of a guy who supported Shea, even Dylan Brooks, just being that third guy. Now, Scotty and Quickly just have to be the number 1, 2. Quickly is the big question for me because there are times when he showed he can get into that starting lineup and be the scorer that he was, but he couldn't balance it out with distributing to other guys. But he has the potential to be the fourth quarter guy for this team because Scotty Barnes will pass, will give it off in the fourth quarter, doesn't have to be the guy at all times. So there's a balance there, but I think, yes, them plus Pirtle back, even though they're all talking like, it's just a rebuild year. I do think Scotty Barnes has that attitude that he's better than that. When he plays Twitch, he says, I ain't all that good yet. But even in bad games...
At video games or basketball?
Yeah, I think he's talking about basketball, but it could be Twitch as well, video games as well. From last year to this year, I think he's just grown. Game to game, he grew last year. So I believe, again...
Going Raps.
When we're talking playing in the
you.
Eastern Conference, we're talking 35, 36 wins. So we're not talking about great teams. But the Grizzlies is also a good one.
I mean, it's a loaded West, so it's not easy.
Yeah.
But a lot of people think they're going to win 20 more games than they did last year just because they have healthy guys. Sort of. I mean, they're already coming into the season banged up a little bit with guys that were sort of breakout guys, and Gigi Jackson, Vince Williams. I think Jaren Jackson Jr. is sort of banged up already too. So
yeah, hammy.
You don't love that, but I wanted to slip them in here because we had a poll up on our YouTube community page. Which Western Conference team is the toughest to predict? Grizzlies ran away with the vote. Over 2,500 votes out there, 42%. It was between like the Grizzlies and sort of like the Pelicans were on that list. We had an option for other, and I'm missing another team that was very difficult to predict. But anyway.
Was it the Kings?
No, it wasn't the Kings. It was another Western Conference team.
You said Pelicans.
Said Pelicans. I mean, I could look it up, but I'm just lazy. Anyway, the point is, Grizzlies are like, they could be a team in the play-in, or they could go back to being a 50-plus win team because you're a John Morant-led team. Zach Edey's posting up. Oh, my God.
He looks good in the post.
Post moves are cool, says Trey Kirby. He's going to have a lot of footage to pull from with Zach Edey.
Yeah, it looks great.
It's wild. It's sort of shocking to the system. Be like, oh yeah, they're just putting a big guy on the block and letting him cook. It's sort of cool.
Yeah.
Because you don't see it at all anymore. It's like, who does it? Jokic does it, but he does it in a weird Jokic way. And then Embiid sort of gets post touches, but not even all that many. Zach Edey, give it to him.
Yeah.
Feed the beast.
And he's being played one-on-one like he was in college at times. We saw Donovan Clingan playing one-on-one. He's bigger than everybody, so he's going to score. I guess it'll be different in the regular season. Do they have enough three-point shooters to give him that space? I just think the question with Grizzlies is beyond Zach Edey. It's John Morant was injured basically all of last year. He should be healthy, I guess. Marcus Smart injured a ton last year. And you said Jaren Jackson. Desmond Bane missed half the year. So, injuries are boring to talk about, but it is kind of important when you're talking about are they going to win games again. So that is important with Memphis Grizzlies. Desmond
Bane for first-time All-Star? Too insane?
A little too insane.
He averaged 24 points per game last year.
Awesome.
Only half the season, but you talked me into like posting up Zach Edey, just kicking it out to Bane,
that'd be
knocking
fun.
threes in. He'll have some big. He could be a guy that goes for 50. No, I picked him once for a guy to score 50. I don't think he's ever got there. He's flirted with it a couple times.
Yeah.
Just like my Tim Hardaway Jr. pick. All right, team most likely to disappoint everyone. All right, so we talked about teams like, okay, maybe we're high on than some teams that could jump up into the postseason, but what about teams that are like maybe set up to disappoint? So to obviously, not exceed expectations.
I think it's the Denver Nuggets. And, they've got Nikola Jokic. They shouldn't be on this list. That being said, I am a little worried about Jamal Murray continuing what he did last year towards the end of the year where he just was pretty regular. He wasn't all that good from the point he got back when Michael Malone was so excited. His head coach was so excited to see him. He was just back. He was healthy again. He had recovered, but it wasn't all that good. And that to me is the same story coming into this year. Has he recovered, or is it going to be the same guy? Like, it's just lingering. So I think he is super duper important to them being, championship type of team. I mean, he is important. Now, watching in the preseason, I think they've already done away with all the intense scrutiny they get about, he gave away KCP. What for? Michael Porter Jr. is getting dribble handoffs all over the place. He's become more aggressive to just let it rip. So he looks good out there. But the guy who even replaced KCP hasn't been all that great in Christian Brown at just shooting. Teams are just letting him, leave him, let him shoot from 10 feet, from 15 feet. But he is a good three-point shooter in the past. So I think all the misses in the preseason will go by the wayside, but they've got Julian Strawther looking great shooting the ball from three. Even though Russell Westbrook's been missing from all over the place, I like what he does. He's perfect for that team and just dribbling everywhere and getting guys shots. So it all comes down to Jamal Murray. If he's not the guy. Now, I don't know why they would sign him to over $200 million if he's not anywhere close to that guy.
Right.
But maybe they don't know something about his legs, which are preventing him from being that same guy. But all that to say, it's up to Jamal Murray. Now, Jokic is still going to win you a lot of games, but in the Western Conference, that could mean a 6, 7, 8 seed, and that would stink for a team that is considered at least in that championship conversation.
Okay. I like that pick. I get your reasoning. I'm going to go with the Lakers, though, as a team potentially set up to disappoint. And I have two main reasons. First part is Anthony Davis and LeBron James played a ton of games last year. They played a combined 147 games after averaging just over 100 games played between the previous two seasons. So can they continue that great, health run that AD specifically is on, and even LeBron getting up there in age? Like, it's insane that this guy's year 22? It's insane. So there's that part. And the other part is, I wonder if their record in games that were decided by 3 points or fewer just, either flips or comes back to more 50-50. They went 11-4 in, very, very close games. Now, I get that a part of that equation is LeBron and AD. You have two all-NBA sort of all-star guys. But, 11-4, that could easily sort of shift back to, whatever, 6-9 or something like that, 7-8, and then you're those are obviously losses that are going to bump you down, and maybe you're on the outskirts of even a play-in position with all these teams in the West. So I'll just those two reasons have some concern for me.
Yeah.
And they're just it feels like the Lakers are just they're not, and rightfully not a part of like the upper echelon, that top tier of Western Conference teams, where we're like, oh, it's the Thunder. We think the Wolves will still be there. Yes, the Nuggets are a question mark. I get it, but I have them there still. Who else am I forgetting that you would probably have up? The Mavericks. Like, these are all better, I think, teams than the Lakers.
Yeah. And then there's just so many teams that people aren't talking about, like the Sacramento Kings. It's a good team.
Pelicans,
the Pelicans.
Rockets.
There are a lot of good teams in the Western Conference, so we're unable to really know which one's going to drop off. But the Lakers could, because of those guys not playing.
Yes.
So, yes, there's literally, to me, there's going to be one team that's going to be super upset because they won't even make the top 10. Right now, it kind of looks like the Clippers.
Yep.
But the Intuit Dome is a fun place to play. It sure looks like. Steve Ballmer, cool guy, making things happen.
Is he?
He's a cool guy because he paid for that arena.
Well, okay. Yeah.
Him, that guy.
That's true.
Cool. He didn't pay taxpayers to do it themselves. So that's cool. Even if you don't consider Steve Ballmer cool, I get it.
You should have been allowed to pay for a toilet. And like, get your name on it and stuff like that. They do it with like seats and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But get your own John.
Like a little plate.
On the back.
Engraved. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, it would be. All right.
All right, final question here. Which key player will be traded first?
Wow, this was hard.
Well, it may be already over because on Monday the Kings traded Jalen McDaniels.
Yeah.
And their 2031 second round pick and cash considerations to the Spurs. Jalen McDaniels, not Jaden. The Spurs plan on waiving him. So,
wow, that was a quick experiment for Jalen McDaniels.
Well, yeah, he was. Kings fans are lucky. I watched a lot of McDaniels play for the Raptors last season.
Yeah,
he was one of the worst players in the league.
And that was, speaking of minimum contracts, that he was given a real contract, like $6.5 million per year from Masai Ujiri, and it did not work out immediately. They traded two players in Davion Mitchell and Sasha Vezenkov for Jalen McDaniels. They're trying to reschedule or revamp the top of their roster. That's what's important to them. It's all about the dollar bills, and that makes sense that they were able to get rid of him. That was a good move in the end.
Yes, it was, because now he's been waived.
Because they tried Vezenkov and that didn't work. So they're trying to get better at the top. I'm interested to see what that team does. Just with DeMar DeRozan, De'Aaron Fox, and Domantas Sabonis, do you think they're going to score a lot? It's up to Keon Ellis and Keegan Murray to hold it down.
Do you think this move is a precursor to something bigger to come? Because people say, they opened up a roster spot, stuff like that, or more for the books?
I think it's the books right now. Because I don't know of a big that's available to come help them. I think it's a big with them. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I found this hard. Do you want to go first? Because I've got some, but I'm just going to talk about why they can't be dealt.
Well, okay. I think the obvious name, star player, key player, however we're wording this, the Pelicans tried trading Brandon Ingram all summer long. So I don't think that plan has probably changed. He plays a very similar offensive role, at least to DeJounte Murray, who they just went and got. Hell, he shares sort of a position with other young guys on their roster who do good things. Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, although he's a center now. And he's looking for a huge, fat contract extension, which it doesn't feel like they really want to be the team to give it to him. So I think they would assume they're still calling teams and is anybody... It's not all that much different than the Raptors trading Siakam last year. I mean, he was due for a contract extension. What did the Raptors get back for him? Not a whole lot. I unfortunately think that might be the case if the Pelicans do move Brandon Ingram. So I have him at the top of the list.
I've got the entire Pelicans team because I mean they're thinking about who they're dealing because Brandon Ingram and DeJounte Murray are playing similar positions and in terms of just handling the ball all the time. Now you listen to their front office. David Griffin said a few months ago, we're going to this offseason, we're going to do some stuff. And it didn't happen with Brandon Ingram. I say the whole team because maybe they go in a different direction. Maybe it's CJ McCollum. I think that's a possibility. But I guess what's different than the Raptors is that this Pelicans team hasn't had an opportunity to make it work. Siakam was there for years. So that's a little different here with Ingram and DeJounte Murray and CJ McCollum and Zion trying it once.
Give it a go, you're saying.
But they need a big. As much as I love Daniel Tice, they do need another big. So could be one of those guys that would go. So, but if it didn't happen in the offseason, I don't know if it's going to happen right now, because Brandon Ingram is a player that deserves a big contract at some point.
Yeah, but
that's the question.
In the new CBA, he is the exact type of player where it's like he's the issue contract, where it's like, yeah, he's sort of max worthy, but he's not your best player. You don't want him probably to be your best player, your franchise guy.
Yeah.
So thus he's your second or third max guy, and then you're like, now we can't build our roster.
Yeah.
He is like a perfect example, I think, of like this new second apron and the squeeze that puts on team building.
Yeah, and the boys, they need to play Trey Murphy and they need to play Herb Jones. So they would make sense for them to get rid of a forward like that.
Yeah. Can't you see a team like that has aspirations to be a title contender or obviously take the next step? Somebody goes down with an injury. I'm like just like spitballing here, like, and they're like, oh, damn, we need maybe Brandon Ingram can like keep us afloat. Obviously, we need 25 points per game, and while this other player rests and comes back from injury, keep us in the mix in these loaded conferences and seedings and all that. Like I could, and again, I don't. If he gets moved, it's not going to be a wow package, man.
Not a lot at all.
It's going to be like Siakam, I think. That's maybe picks, but talent-wise, I don't think it's going to be a ton.
That's a good comparison.
Unless you have like a handshake deal with Ingram's agent, like, hey, we're not going max, right? Okay, yeah, good. We'll sign you for that.
Yeah, that's a good comparison with Pascal Siakam for that reason. Because really, I look at it as they're just not going to get enough back or what they want back. Mm-hmm. That's what it could be. And it's a similar scenario with Zach LaVine, I think, with the Chicago Bulls. As good as a player as he is, I think he's on, still a good player. And I think he'll have even a good start to the season. He looks buff in the press conferences. And then he's talking a big game, but he earns a lot more money for multiple years. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if, to me, it looks like a team that wants him thinks he is the key to put us over the top.
Yes.
And I'm not sure. I couldn't find a team really that would say that right now. It used to be sort of the Lakers for me, but that ain't going to happen. It doesn't feel like a match there anymore. So I think the Pelicans are like that. I think that they just don't have a package coming back. Zach's not going to get a package coming back. Now, the Rockets, I think, will make a deal. They have so many guys. There's so many guys on that roster. But I do think another one is Bogdan Bogdanović with the Atlanta Hawks. I think they'd be willing to give him up. They are moving into a younger direction, and Bogdan's a surprising 32.
I was just going to ask you how old he is. I was going to look it up. Okay, he's 32.
He's 32, so he's getting older. Yeah. If you're going to get anything back for him, it would probably be soonish. And I know this team doesn't really know where it's going exactly, but they have gotten a lot younger with the Reece Shea, the Jalen Johnson, the Buffkins, to support Trae Young, who is a lot younger, than Bogdan Bogdanović. So I could see a team not have to give up as much for Bogdan.
Right, because he's $16-17 million a year.
What a number.
He's a declining contract too, right? So
it's a really good number.
Yeah.
I didn't find a great match for him though. To think about a guy who can be your ball handler off the bench most likely, because he's so good at that. But he has shown that he can be awesome. He was for Serbia, playing together.
That's never an issue.
Yeah,
they should allow him to play in a Serbian jersey and he'd be an all-NBA player.
Yeah, why not just put it under your Hawks jersey or whatever? Let's have two.
I like that idea.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
All right, those are the 7 burning questions that we had. I know you guys are playing along in the stream team. Drop your answers in the YouTube comments or tweet at us if you want, at No Dunks Inc. Before we go, it's been a while, but I say we have some rapid-fire fun. Let's end the season previews in style. This is more about news going on currently in the NBA. I got the questions. Esh, you're jumping in here. We'll go Tass, Esh, and myself answering my own questions. This week, radio play-by-play man Chuck Swirsky ran into former Chicago Bulls center Omer Asik at a grocery store.
What?
You know they took a picture. You know Chuck Swirsky's taking a picture. They looked great. Chuck tweeted that Omar looked great and has a beautiful family. Love that part. Good to know. That's what. What's a random NBA player? Who's a random NBA player that you have seen in the wild? Who you got?
I apologize. I'm going with an NFL player here because it was a couple years ago I saw Matt Ryan, Atlanta Falcons quarterback, at the Botanical Gardens.
Oh, Oh, beautiful place.
Yeah, nobody was talking to him, and I was surprised. Everybody knows Matt Ryan,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, he's a legend here.
Ash, you know Matt Ryan, right? If you'd see him.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe not.
I mean, he is a pretty generic-looking white guy.
He does look
He's
like a
probably
lot
not
of.
even that tall, is he?
He's big.
What, like 6'2" or something?
He's bigger than that.
Really?
But he does look like a lot of other people, and so that would be a problem. And no one was speaking with him, and it was a hot summer day, and so I said, "Hey, Matt Ryan."
He's 6'4". Okay.
Yeah, easily. And I said, "Hey, Matt, you must be pretty comfortable in this weather because your nickname's Matty Ice." I didn't say that to him. That would be ridiculous. But
security.
But every Atlanta star, like Trae Young and Matt Ryan, they've got Ice as their nickname.
Yeah, it's
Ice
true.
Trae.
It's true.
Why? Why did they do that? I don't know.
So you didn't
It was
talk to
hot.
him, though?
No.
Didn't even
no.
say hi.
No, he was doing stuff. And I
Doing something, looking at flowers.
And I wasn't 100% sure that it was Matt Ryan because he does look like that.
Oh, so we're not even sure.
I was actually with Trey. Trey looked it up. And
Trey's
knew.
pretty good at like noticing people too.
Yeah, well, he noticed him, but he also had to look it up because just in case.
Confirmed.
He is a great player. I didn't talk about the Super Bowl. I didn't talk about that with him.
But I know, 28-3.
Yeah.
All right, Ash, I want a random athlete. Doesn't need to be an NBA player that you've seen in the wild.
Actually, is the recently passed Mutombo.
Oh, yeah.
And we met him. I saw him at a basketball tournament. I was playing in my junior year. There's a nice picture there for the people listening. But yeah, he's a great guy. Of course, everybody knows stories about Mutombo. I just saw him sitting there on the bleachers, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's Mutombo!" So we all go over to talk to him, and he's just like telling all these dad jokes and being so silly or whatever. And he's like, "I was like, hey, Mr. Mutombo." He's like, "Oh, who? Me? I'm just, he's just
I'm the comeback."
he's not even, he's just being crazy. He's just being dad, and it was really nice to meet him and talk to him for a little bit.
So that was at a basketball tournament or something?
Yeah, an AAU tournament like my junior year, so like 2011, 2012, somewhere in there. So yeah, in Atlanta.
I thought somebody might pick him because we always see him in airports.
Yeah.
I mean, we always
Often.
see Dikembe. We used to always see, of course, the late great Dikembe Mutombo in an airport.
You said it was a nice picture. I mean, it's a little blurry. I thought you were joking about that. This is not really in focus.
I mean, phones in 2011 with the camera quality, I don't know.
Come on, dude.
You just reminded me. What's the guy's name? Is his name Lethal Shooter? That guy on Instagram?
Yeah,
that's got like millions of things. He was at the Hall of Fame. He was doing some things. I don't think this was a bit. I don't think it was. Somebody tell me if I'm wrong. He took a photo with Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And the photo is hilariously blurry.
Crazy blurry.
Like, it's insanely blurry.
Yeah, he took a picture with all these guys, and he got the Jordan, and it's super blurry. And I saw him on Twitter. He's asking
people to fix it.
Yeah, can you fix this for me? And then, there's a bunch of hilarious Photoshops.
Yeah,
in the
that's what I was wondering.
But I think somebody did get him like one clear picture. But it's crazy that you meet Michael Jordan and it's that bad.
But
the
it's
picture
also
is
like
bad.
Tassa. It's almost amazing with today's phones and cameras to even take a blurry photo.
Yeah, but
It must have happened mad quick.
Yeah. Michael Jordan, it's not going to wait for you.
No,
to get
it had to be like, take it.
100%
And
on the
it is
walk.
a good photo.
on the walk, yeah.
Like MJ smiling, they're right there, but oh,
that happens to me when I try and take quick photos.
Yeah.
They're out of focus.
It's just because you're moving, probably, right? The camera?
Yeah, I'm just not good at it.
Oh, okay.
I'm like Ash in 2011, or not taking good ones.
My answer for this is, and this is the definition of a cool story, bro. I once saw Kyle Korver on an escalator at Lenox Mall. That's it. And I think Nora noticed him first. Is that Kyle Korver? There up he goes up the escalator. Yeah, that's definitely Kyle Korver.
Oh, she noticed Kyle Korver?
Nora did. That's
surprising.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
All right, next question here. After missing 2 straight NBA seasons, Bulls guard Lonzo Ball is expected to make his return to basketball in tonight, Wednesday night's preseason home game against the Wolves. Lonzo Ball, only 26 years old. Whoa. Last played in a game on January 14th, 2022. So that's nearly 3 years ago. Right around the corner, right? I want to know something you haven't done in 3 years. Or in at least years, Tess.
Well, I just did it because I hadn't done it in several years. I decided that this was a worthy answer. I hadn't put together an IKEA furniture in so long.
Wow.
When you put together IKEA furniture, you think I'm going to do this every year forever. Like, it just feels like it's a thing you do to me. And it feels like, I don't know, at my age, I thought it was going to go well. thought I can do IKEA stuff. No, every single time. I would get into an argument with my wife, number one. Number two, I mess up. There's the instructions never are amazing. It's not to blame IKEA, but come on. I think they could be better.
They're not specific enough sometimes.
Yes. Yeah. Us men, we need things a little more.
You got to really lay it out.
Lay it out instead of just these pictures of these, weirdly shaped people.
What were you building?
It's a little desk.
Oh, just a desk.
Yeah.
Drawer?
It should be easy. Did it have a drawer? No.
No drawer. That's good.
Yeah, but it had. It was one of those desks that you can raise up if you wind it. Like it has a winder.
A crank?
Yeah, a crank. Good word. Yeah, it has a crank.
I just got myself a standing desk.
Fun? You like it?
It's awesome.
Standing's good.
I love it.
Yeah.
Productivity, I should say, just through the roof right now.
Oh, yeah?
I'm a stander, I've realized. I like just moving around a little bit while I'm doing all the work, yeah. But it's not a crank.
Crank, yeah, that's a good word.
Just press a button. Okay, so putting together IKEA furniture. Wow.
Yeah. Weird answer, but that's
I like it. Ash, what do you got?
Playing a 5-on-5 basketball league.
It's been a while,
It's been a minute. I played 3-on-3 the past couple of years, and it's been okay, but the 5-on-5, I was just tired of it, man. Like, my buddy Kobe and I, we always be on a team together, of course. We've been playing together forever. But we get on a team, and it's either the talent is really high, and we never touch the ball because everybody's one-on-one, and we're losing games. Or it's me and Kobe going out scoring 30 apiece, and we're still losing games. So it's like
the other guys aren't as good.
Exactly. So I'm like, what do we
need to find the perfect balance?
Right. And every time I think, we got a good team that complements everybody, we can play as a team together. And people just don't start showing up, and then we still go, and it's like, okay, and then we're out in the first round of playoffs. I'm like, I'm tired of this, and also I'm a lot fatter now than I used to be, so that's part of it.
So this is like officiated 5-on-5.
Yeah. Like it's a big league up in Hall County, like Flowery Branch area, and it's been running for like 8 or 9 years now, and like everybody in there that plays in this league, ex-hooper, like from a college or maybe overseas hooper or whatever. So like the competition was good, and I used to enjoy playing in it, but at this point, There's no reason for me to be out there.
Sure.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Why don't you just get into like a weekly 5-on-5 run, where there's no officials,
right?
Still get the competitive juices going. I mean, that's what I do.
So the run, I got runs Monday, Wednesday, Friday, like 12 o'clock. But that's the issue, right? Like
12 o'clock.
They play in the middle of the day, right?
The middle of the day.
The middle of the day, and it used to be perfect when I was a little bit younger, but when you're working, but all the guys like. They all own a business or whatever.
Yeah, so they can just dip out.
Exactly. So it's a good mix of older guys, young guys that come, like especially, college students, stuff like that. But
it's a well-off group,
dude. It's great. Like I've been a part of it since I was once again a junior in high school. But there's like a tyrant that's running the gym right now. A tyrant. She's terrible. I'm not gonna get into it, but
all right, name names.
Yeah, that's the problem. She's scaring people away.
Okay.
Yeah, go ask some of these guys for a job. I mean, these are all business owners.
A lot of them. A lot of the older guys are.
When you said they work at 12 o'clock, I thought, what do they do?
They're unemployed. That's the opposite.
They lie. They eat players at night, or what do they do?
Oh, yeah.
But if they own businesses, they're well.
They go on their lunch break and we play from 11 to 2.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they got the thread going right now. Who's coming to the gym today?
Wow.
I don't think I'm going to make it.
I had the,
not.
I was at the gym. I had the itch, too. I saw someone who recognized my College Park Skyhawks shirt. He said, wow, nice shirt. You don't see that very often.
Oh.
And he said he was Sharif Cooper's uncle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's like, I got to play with these guys. But now he sounds like he's going to be too good. So I don't know if I'm going to enjoy it, but I'm almost there. I'm almost playing with Sharif Cooper's.
I'm thinking about it. Yeah. My answer for something I haven't done in years, danced in a club. When was the last time you went to a club?
Yeah.
And just danced? It's been way longer than 3 years. It's pre-pandemic for sure. I mean, I'm probably when we had like friends come down from Toronto.
Yeah.
And like we went out somewhere in Atlanta, danced it up. But that's like years ago now.
Yeah. It's true. I'm with you.
I miss it.
It is.
I miss it every once in a while.
Do it.
It's always a fun night, but also you just at a certain point you just get aged out. It's like I don't even know if they'd let us in.
Johnny's Hideaway.
That's true. That is the spot for the old people to go dance. Can't take your drink on the dance floor at Johnny's Hideaway.
No.
They go nuts. Stiffest drinks in Atlanta. Yeah. Oh my God. So that's good.
People driving away.
But you ain't taking it on the dance floor. They literally like almost like stop the music and like security comes out. It's crazy.
Yeah, those were the days. Just dancing.
Yeah, dancing.
I miss
Remember
it.
dancing? All right, final one here. A lot of other sports going on right now. We got football with the NFL. We got the other football with soccer, if you're into that. We got baseball playoffs. WNBA finals, of course, coming up on game 3 here. Hockey has started. Did you know that? Regular season is underway. We like sports and we don't care who knows. But besides basketball, I just want to know, what is your favorite sport to watch on television?
It's funny you say hockey because I've been watching it, but I'd rather be live. Hockey's a great sport live.
Yeah, it is.
WNBA finals are great. I'd rather be there live. But football, the American football, the old NFL, I think is a great TV sport.
You prefer almost to watch it on TV?
Yeah, because you're live there and you get your 45 seconds in between each play, and you're just kind of sitting there. You can take a quick nap if you want, but on TV, you see the replay and you hear the broadcasters break down what you just missed with a key part of that play.
Yep.
So it is great for TV, period. And there's so many gaps. Again, like the naps, as I joke about. There's just so much time for commercials, for halftime. It's
quite slow when you really think about it.
Yeah, because I've been to Falcons games.
Yep.
I mean, they put a good show together, but still, I want some action.
I agree.
So
I think it is a better television sport than it is in person. But I mean, then you lose the tailgating part. And if you get a close game, of course, it's entertaining at the end. But yeah, for the most part, I'm with you on that one. What about you, Ash?
I have to say, I think I would much rather be in person for a football game.
Really?
Why is that?
Yeah. I mean, I've never been to a pro game, but I've been to a lot of Bulldogs games, like Georgia Bulldogs. And I don't know, just the atmosphere. I feel like, because you're right, it's a long ass game, so you're just sitting on the couch. I'm like,
football can be real long.
Come on, like even if it's pro, I'm just like, all right, let's go, you know?
Yeah.
But in the stadium, a lot better. But anyways, my answer is soccer. I think.
Okay.
If I'm not watching basketball and I'm going to watch a sport on TV, it's going to be soccer. And now we're a soccer household, right? Like my oldest son playing club soccer and is like, you know, pretty decent at it. And we just watch a lot of soccer on the weekends, watching the Premier League, and I'm like pointing stuff out. You see how he's doing that? See how he's timing his run there? I don't know. We just much prefer to watch soccer on TV.
Good answers.
It's a good game.
I'm really liking baseball on TV right now. Just the playoffs. Postseason baseball, I'm in on. You know, every pitch feels like it matters. Now, I do hate when a game gets like out of control early, and then I tune out. If it's like 6-0 or something, I'm like convinced the team can never come back. And it's too many runs. But you know, you get a close game. Again, the drama, the crowds are obviously hype. It's fun. And it's so good. Like, now I got my standing desk working away, got the baseball game on right there on my monitor. It's perfect, just like background. Look over at it every once in a while.
It's a great playoff sport.
And look, the ratings are going to be through the roof for the World Series.
Subway Series?
Well, the Yankees are going to be in there because they're playing the Guardians. And it's going to be, Subway Series or Dodgers-Yankees. Come on. MLB must be pumped.
Yes, they absolutely
Huge
are.
ratings.
Yeah, I turned it on. Danielle's always says, baseball?
Well, same with Nora. She hates when I have it on.
It's too slow for her, I guess. But there's so many key moments.
Yeah.
I tuned in and Aaron Judge did something great, but I missed it because my wife was complaining.
He finally hit a home run in the postseason.
Yeah.
Aaron Judge, welcome to October. All rise. Who do you like? Who you got winning it all? You're the baseball guy.
I'm going with the Dodgers. They just seem destined.
Going Dodgers. Oh, I'm going
Mets, unfortunate.
Baby.
Yeah.
Only because I went and saw the Mets play in person this year at Citi Field.
Oh, yeah. Looks like a good stadium.
It was great. We had great seats. Shout out to my buddy, your buddy, our buddy Grish. You know, they got the whole weird grimace thing going. See this? The McDonald's mascot?
Yeah.
I like that. I like when baseball is weird shit like that. For some reason, it's so funny to me. So go Mets.
I like them.
OMG,
too.
baby.
Right.
And I don't want the Yankees to win.
No, nobody does.
No. All right, that's rapid fire, not so rapid, but that's it. That's our final preview podcast. I mean, sort of. We'll be back on Monday to get ready for the season, which starts on Tuesday. Look, next week, we're back to 5 days a week, basically. We're in it. So make sure you like, subscribe, share the show, leave your boys a 5-star rating and review wherever you listen to the podcast. I really appreciate it, especially with the start of the season. Helps new basketball fans find the show. But yeah, on Monday, we're here, baby.
We are, baby.
I'll hopefully be here. You guys will be here. You and Trey, JD. I got a quick trip. I'm going hiking.
Oh,
Mount Rainier. Beautiful. Washington State. It's going to be raining, no doubt. Maybe snowing. Uh-oh. Am I prepared for snow? No. But I'm back on Sunday night, so I should be here with you guys.
Literally snow up there in the mountains?
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah. It's getting cold. It's getting cold. I think it'll be more rainy than snow. But, you know, if I'm flying to Seattle area, like, I almost want rain. I want the experience.
That's why they call it Rainier. Dad joke. You want the experience? Yeah.
A little bit. I don't want to be soaked.
No.
But I wouldn't mind a little mist. I mean, make it nice and moody, you know?
Yeah, sounds very nice.
Can't wait. But back on Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern. Appreciate everybody joining us. If you're a Survivor fan, before I get on a flight tomorrow, tonight, I'm going to attempt to do a Survivor recap podcast with Nora from the comfort of our own home. Ooh, we might be at the standing desk. Yeah, might have to stand with Nora at the desk. We're going to share a mic. It's going to be a weird one. No buffs, own YouTube feed, its own podcast feed. But we're going to go live tonight around 10 p.m. Eastern.
Ash will record that one.
And Ash will be helping us out. He'll be helping us out behind the scenes to try and get that up as quickly as possible.
And you can't not record that one.
Yeah. No starting over there, Ash. Hey, better you caught it minute 1 than minute 60 or whatever.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
You guys have false starts all the time. I've seen it. I've seen it.
Okay.
Let's go behind the scenes.
We're the only one with the guts to do it live, and that just proves we're live. Essentially, I guess, well, the podcast listener right now has no idea what's going on, but jump over to YouTube. You'll see. Okay, until next week, Clipper Bros.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us. And remember, it's okay to give a little dig, to give a little insult. I just read it on The Athletic. The Milwaukee Bucks are doing it. Doc Rivers says, you got to dig, you got to show your other guy that there's a problem on the floor.
Oh.
Do it. I mean, it's just part of their preseason, what they've been doing. But Doc said, we've got to talk to each other. It's about communication.
Accountability.
Yeah. And so it's all right that I just made a little insult for Ash. It's all right. It's totally fine. It's normal.
We're human.
Anyways,
We're just human.
Yeah, we'll be doing it all year long. The boys are back in town, insulting each other, starting Monday.
We'll see you Monday. Embrace the weekend, people.